Hey guys, today is our first garden tour and I can't believe it took us this long to film. Between life and my other YouTube channel, it's just hard to sometimes prioritize the time for this one, but this is what we do on the everyday. I overthink everything. So today's the first garden tour of the season and gosh, it is doing so well. I can't wait to show you guys everything. And really one of the main reasons I'm out here showing you is because we're gonna be doing a huge harvest here because we've got a ton of peppers that are ready. We've got beans and we've got tomatoes that are ripening right now, and things are just changing so much. So I wanted to give a full tour of what we've got going on here in the garden before I pick a bunch of stuff because, well, it'll look so different after that. Tiny bit windy, so I hope it's not too bad in the audio. If you guys are unaware of the type of gardening that we chose to do, we are doing Charles Dowding's method called no-dig gardening. And if you don't know what that is, essentially it is where you take the ground and instead of tilling or digging or doing anything to the soil, you lay some cardboard down on the ground and then you put wood chips or whatever you want your pathways to be, and then where you're going to be planting you just pile on really good quality compost and then you plant directly into that compost, and then as it breaks down as well, the roots will grow down into the soil below and then amend with that compost. So you're actually building the soil. You're not depleting it in any way by tilling it up and killing any of the beneficial organisms in there. So you are amending and helping the soil below. And so it's been great for us. We weren't sure how we would do with it because previously we had been using raised bed gardening, and this is our first year with no dig and it is not our last. It's absolutely amazing. We are loving it so much. Everything is doing really well. And so as I go through, I'll talk to you about some things that we've done differently that have given us a lot more success than in past years of gardening. And let's just do the tour. So as you can see back here, that is our orchard area, and as you can see the ground is grass. We have some things growing in there as well, but that is what this whole area used to be, is just completely grass. So now it is a beautiful garden. All right, so starting off we have our row of peppers here, and we have a ton of different types of varieties of peppers here. We have jalapeno, poblano, we have Carolina Reaper, bell pepper, cayenne, a ton of different things over here. Now, nothing is labeled because, well, it was, but our son walked around and pulled out all the labels. So everything is a bit of a surprise. Our peppers did amazing this year. We started these in the greenhouse and then we transplanted them out as larger plants, and they are looking amazing. And like I said, we have a ton to harvest, so I will go around and show you up close, but we've got some gorgeous fruits on these, like really, really amazing. We have not had success with peppers in the past at all, and this year there are so many. I am absolutely so pleased. It's been a really, really hot summer, which has been actually really great for all of these peppers. And so far, disease-wise, everything looks good. I can't even believe it. It's been just absolutely wonderful. And as you can see, like, these peppers look so good, so healthy, and there is an abundance of them on here. We eat a lot of peppers pretty much with every meal. So this is a really, really amazing harvest that we're gonna have, and I'm very pleased with everything. Specifically the bell peppers, there's something so satisfying about them because they are so huge on such a small plant, and I just think that they are darling in every way. And so this row of peppers is looking amazing, and I cannot wait to try some of these. Everything that we've eaten out of the garden so far has been amazing. Now this next row that we have here are our tomatoes, and we have 3 rows of tomatoes going on here in the garden, and that is the main thing that we wanted to grow because we really, 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 really love tomatoes. We just eat them with pretty much every single dish that we make, and we plan on canning and freeze drying, and we also love to make these roasted tomatoes with garlic and herbs. I'm sure that we could figure out a way to can them. We've never canned before, so this will be our first year, but I'm really looking forward to learning how to store these. And in the meantime, I think what we'll do is just core them and score them and freeze them so that we can sort of use them in any recipes that we want to do, and you can cook them down, make sauces. We eat a lot of tomato sauce, so we're really excited for these. Like I said about the peppers, we don't know what any of these varieties of tomatoes are. They were all labeled, and our son walked around and picked out every single one of the tags. Next year we're going to label them by putting on a tag on the stem of the plant, but he'll be like, I don't know, 2.5, almost 3 next year, so it'll be a lot easier to stop him from doing those things, I think. but you know, maybe I'm gonna eat my words. The tomatoes are doing really well. We have had a lot of issues in the past with blossom end rot, and as of this year, we don't seem to have any. By now, we would be seeing a ton of blossom end rot, and that basically, like, the tomato looks perfectly healthy from the top, and then when you flip it over, it looks like the whole bottom of it is black and mushy and rotten out, and it just ruins the entire tomato. So this year, what we did differently was when we planted the tomato plants, which we started obviously from seed, and we started inside the greenhouse, but we actually started inside our house. But when we planted the tomatoes, we used Espoma's tomato tone, which is a fertilizer that is specifically made for tomatoes. We also used garden gypsum in the soil, so we amended it with some of the garden gypsum and put a piece of white chalk in with it. So blossom end rot is typically from low calcium, and we have noticed in the past that we haven't actually amended our soil with any calcium. So this year we added in that additional calcium with the chalk and the gypsum and that tomato tone, and we have had no issues. In fact, we have an abundance of tomatoes and everything looks great. I mean, honestly, so pleased. I know what some of the varieties are, like Barry's Crazy Cherry Tomato from Baker Creek. As you can see, these ones here, they are so amazing. They have a prolific abundance of cherry tomatoes, and these are a yellow variety, so actually they're already starting to ripen, and my little kiddo's been coming out and picking them and eating them. That's honestly one of our biggest hurdles here, is allowing him to come in the garden and wanting him to be in here with us so that he, you know, shows an interest for the garden, but also at the same time not allowing him to pick all of the unripe fruit, which is the only thing he wants to do. This row, in the beginning of all of our rows, we have marigold because I think they're a sacrificial plant. I think that a lot of people think that they deter pests. And I might be wrong here, but I don't know that they actually do. I think more or less they're sacrificial, so the plant or the bugs are actually attracted to them, but I might be wrong here. But this is a bean, some kind of green bean. Again, nothing's labeled. It all was. We don't know what anything is anymore. We've got our beans up here. We planted a lot of these really late, so your garden might look a lot better than ours. Probably does. We unfortunately were a little late with planting because we didn't have the fence up yet, and our weather was just crap this year. I mean, it was like actually crazy weather where we weren't able to plant anything until I think May, whereas we were supposed to plant in April, like right after our last frost. And it just was so cold and rainy so long that we had to wait, and that's where we are today. Everything that we have is kind of stunted, kind of small, but you know what? This is a really great garden for us. We're really excited about it because it is such, I don't know, man, we're able to see that we're able to grow way better than we thought we'd be able to, and it gives us huge plans for next year. We want to probably double the amount of rows that we have and do sort of a market style garden around on at least one side of the garden, add a lot more areas over there in the orchard, and I'll talk to you about that in a sec. But these are the beans. We don't have any fruit on these guys yet, but we're getting there. We do have some on these areas back here. We have some beans that we've been able to eat, and in fact I can see an amazing little green bean right there, and some snap peas, so we'll show you. All right, so this is where I was just pointing at. This right here is a snap pea, and I've got some tiny little guys coming up on it right now. You can see they are so darling, and we're just kind of eating them as we go because we only planted one of the snap peas. That's not enough to like have a whole meal out of, unfortunately, so we've just been picking them and eating them in the garden, and it's been really nice. Right next to him is a green bean, and this is a bush bean variety, so you can see it's not a trailer and a climber. This one is like a bush, and honestly I think that's kind of my preferred method versus the climbers because you need a huge trellising system for them, although they are so cute. This is probably one of my favorite things that we're growing right now. Corn! Oh my God, we're growing corn! We are farmers, okay? True farmers growing freaking corn. How cute is this corn? Look at my corn. I'm sorry, but it's just absolutely so darling. Variety, I have no idea, but cute as can be. Look at this corn. I'm sorry, it's knee-high on a grasshopper. It's the cutest thing I ever saw in my life, and I love it, and that's about that. So next year what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the Three Sisters method, which if I am correct is corn, beans, and squash. I might be correct on that one, but I might be wrong as well, and I will be saying it on the screen if I am. But basically, you grow your corn, and then you can grow your green beans. They'll grow up your corn, and then beneath that, I think it gives a good protection for your squash. I think that I'm correct on that. And so we're gonna be doing that next year. We're gonna grow way more corn because I think, if I'm correct on this too, one stalk of corn is like 1 to 2 ears of corn maybe. So you really need to grow a lot of it, but I'm just so excited about it. I just went on Baker Creek last night and added a ton of different corn to my cart because I want to do popcorn as well, and that's a different variety. So yeah, I'm really excited about this, and ours haven't got any silks or anything like that yet, but we're getting there. I think I see something come through. And what do we have here? Watermelon. These are our watermelons. I think these are Sugar Baby, and there might be another one as well. Again, like I said, we got really late start on these guys, but they do look good. I mean, I think we do have a tiny, teeny, eeny, weeny, tiny little watermelon coming in on that guy over there. This guy needs some more water. I'll be watering him in a second. I can see him getting droopy, but we're hoping to get some watermelons. I don't know, man. We're kind of late in the season. We'll see what we get. If we don't, we don't. If we do, amazing. I love watermelon. Got some here too at the end of the row with the beans. So this is my most prized row. Need to get a little more water on these guys. They're droopy. They need a lot of water. This is our pumpkin patch. We have a pumpkin patch, okay? A pumpkin patch with pumpkins growing on it. And they're the cutest things you've ever seen. I can see one coming in here, one coming in here. They're so darling I could throw up. I absolutely cannot believe we have a pumpkin patch with actual pumpkins. It makes me giddy with excitement. I am in love. And this is like a variegated variety. This is not a disease that it has, but it's like variegation on the leaves. We've got a couple different varieties. Have no idea what they are. Very excited to see what they become. So then we've got another row of tomatoes here. At the end, we have these beans climbing up. And again, they haven't started to fruit yet, so hopefully that's soon, but they look really healthy. They're doing really well. Everything that you see in our garden was planted from seed, so we didn't buy any starts except for the blueberries and raspberries. Oh, and the grapes, but everything else we started from seed. So these are looking really healthy and good, and I think that honestly for next year, we're just learning timing-wise that we're going to need to start things earlier and get things in the ground earlier, and honestly put a lot more in, because we really didn't utilize our space well because we listened to spacing instructions from the seed packets. And I would say next year I'm not going to do that because I feel like things are spaced too far apart and it's wasted garden space. So, but yeah, the beans are looking really good. And then this is our tomato row. This is the one that has a lot of the berries, Crazy Cherry. They are really, really cute and so prolific. They're probably my favorite to grow of the tomato variety so far, given that they just are so abundant. Like I just can't even believe how many tomatoes are on each plant. It's bonkers to me. As you can see, we did the wrong kind of trellising system for our tomatoes this year. We were initially going to just kind of do the string method, but what I've noticed is they're just too heavy. The string can't hold up. We're using just a traditional garden twine for it. My husband put some, like stakes up in the corners in like a triangle shape, and then they just were drooping all down. So then we staked in a T-post at the end and then kind of tied it to the triangle trellis that my husband made. And while that is like sort of working, next year we're going to do cattle panel trellis. We bought some, but we just did not get them up in time. Our tomatoes were already in and it would have caused a lot of damage. So we're just going to do the trellising next year and just keep adding string. And it's working just fine. We have pumpkins and different types of squash growing in our garden. And goodness gracious, if we don't know what things are because of our kiddo. We just have no idea what's growing where. So this could look like a pumpkin plant, but it looks as though we're dealing with some kind of maybe spaghetti squash, maybe zucchini, I'm not sure, and we're about to find out. So as you can see over here, we've got something coming in, and I am excited to see what it turns into. I have no idea. Honestly, it's kind of a mystery. Toddler Garden Mystery. That's the name of my new novel. Here we've got beets, and I feel like they are growing in size. They're still pretty small, but they're getting there. These are the traditional red beets, and then down the line we have golden beets, and we really, really like them. And it's something that we didn't really realize how much we liked beets until we ate them. I had always tried them in like the can, and I was like, dude, I don't know why people like these. But then when you roast a good fresh beet in like oil and you put some garlic and you eat it with goat cheese, oh my God, it's like one of the best things I've ever eaten. Now, this is our really big surprise row. And you might be like, Christy, everything in your garden's a surprise. Well, these are the actual surprise of all surprises, because all of these plants that you see down this line, all of the brassicas that you see, you can see like we potentially have some kale, maybe we have some Brussels sprouts, maybe we have broccoli, maybe we have cabbage. And the reason we say maybe is because we did not start these, nor buy them, nor even know what they are. we had topsoil delivered to our house, and a contractor went and grabbed it, picked it up, spread it around our yard, and we planted some grass seed over the top, and we had the topsoil delivered to kind of even out the yard. And when it was delivered, we noticed that some brassicas were growing in it. Brassicas are, like I was saying, it's like cabbage, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, kale, all those things. They all originate from the same thing. And we found them growing. These were just growing in our grass. And so I dug them up earlier this year, and I just said, screw it. And we planted them in the garden, and we're still not sure what they are, but these were all completely free to us. Well, not free, we bought the topsoil, but it's just so exciting. So we have no idea. They could be cabbage. They kind of look cabbagey to me. If you guys know, please let me know. I would absolutely love to know what they are. They're growing well, and it's pretty exciting to know that they are just a little volunteer guy, free food. It's always so exciting. And then we've got this last back row, and this is blueberry. This is blueberry. This looks pretty bad, as you guys can see. So it is a blueberry that we had from our old house that we had in a growing bag, unfertilized, uncared for, unwatered for years. And that sounds sad, but we honestly just thought that it was dead. Well, it's not dead, but it's right there. And I just think it's gonna take a while to come back, if it even does. This is strawberry. We bought these as starts from the nursery, so I forgot strawberries as well. We did not start these from seed. We have a few different varieties of strawberry going on here, and they're delicious, but they're really not producing much this year at all. And our kiddo loves to come pick them out of the garden, but maybe he just picked them all out, and I think we're gonna get a lot more next year. They look healthy. They really are liking this area. This is the same blueberry plant. This was also in a growing bag that we had. These really healthy looking ones over here, we got them at Costco. So I'm not sure how well you can tell, but this guy right here, this is the king of all blueberries. So we've got a couple that are about to be blue on here, but my kiddo comes out here and picks them every single day, blue or not. So really, he's kind of annihilated the plant. But again, we want him to have a positive relationship with the garden, and so I don't tell him no. Okay, I've told him no 100,000 times. He doesn't listen to the word no. So instead of getting mad about it, I just say, it'll all be okay. This is Patriot Blueberry, and man, this guy has created a lot of blueberries for us. They've been very tasty. It's pretty prolific. I definitely want to get more of this variety because I really, really like them. And it just fruited really well first year. There's still blueberries coming in, and it's just a great producer. I feel like this is going to be a really good variety. This is Spartan Blueberry over here. This one looks like it has a bit more disease, and this one doesn't seem as disease prone, but this guy does. So it has pretty much given us maybe 4 blueberries. This one's given us 100. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Patriot. So this is one of the end rows of our garden as well. Right here we have eggplant, and these started really late. We planted most of this stuff in May. These went in July, so quite a bit late. And these are eggplants just in the end of the row because we didn't have anything planted there. The rest of this row here is all raspberry. We didn't get much raspberry. They're caning out really well. They're spreading really well. I think they can get to be pretty intense, but this is more of a bushy variety here. We got this one from Home Depot, and the others are all from the nursery. This one actually is doing really well. It gave us 2 raspberries, so we're pretty full. So this is our potato row. This is really exciting. So you can see they're starting to yellow and die back now, but they're seemingly doing really well. I have no idea what it looks like under the soil. We did mound them. By we, I mean Zach mounded them. Hopefully there's some good potatoes down in there. All we did was had a bunch of old potatoes that were gonna go bad. They were organic, potentially some fingerlings and some golden potatoes. This whole row is potatoes, and I'm very excited about it. I think we're gonna grow our potatoes in bags and not in a row. I really enjoy the way it looks a lot, but the bag that we have over there where we also are growing some potatoes, it looks really good. It honestly looked even better than the row. And I can see some potatoes sitting on top of the soil where when we water, it seems like it's kind of washing away the soil. So yeah, I honestly think we're probably gonna line the garden in bags next year and grow all of our potatoes in bags. From what I understand, it's easier to harvest them, and then you can use your garden space for something that's a little more finicky to grow, especially with potatoes growing so well in bags. So I think that's what we're gonna do. And yeah, but this row makes me really happy because it's so bushy and green and beautiful. And like I said, they're dying back now, so we're gonna harvest them soon. My husband just picked a berry sherry. Oh my God. Delightful. Wow, that was great. The beginning of this row is sweet potato. We bought them from the store. They were starting to grow eyes, and we just thought, let's toss them in the ground. And they are growing sweet potatoes. So this is only 2 sweet potatoes that we put in. We'll see what happens. but they're looking all right. Pretty stunted, but you know, all right. So this is our final tomato row. Again, I don't have a clue what anything is, and it's all looking good. We also have some onions growing right here. These look amazing. When you see our onion row, you're gonna see why I think these look so amazing. I also think that we could have planted our onions significantly closer together, and our kiddo literally, like when they were looking the best, they all looked like this. They were sticking out, they were doing amazing, they were clumped, and he decided to stomp all of them down to the ground. So that's a 1-year-old for you. Coming up on 2, so it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, he found it really, really fun to just kind of walk and stomp. So our onion row is the most pathetic thing you've ever seen, but you live and you learn. So yeah, I wasn't kidding when I said that it was pathetic. That's it. Looking good, baby. It's looking good. It is pretty bare. It didn't used to be, like I said, but he was having a blast, and we were telling him no. We have a song that we sing now, and it goes like this: walk on sticks, walk on sticks, walk on sticks, walk on sticks, because we're trying to teach him to walk on the sticks and not the dirt. He sings the walk on sticks song while walking on the dirt still, so it's just a work in progress. So I did an orchard tour for you guys when we planted these. Things are looking quite different now. So these are Nectazee dwarf nectarines, these front 2, and we were able to harvest nectarines off of them multiple times now, and when I tell you, they are so gorgeous. They're delightful. They taste amazing. They are sweet and juicy and perfect. And I want to get many more of these because these stay about this tall, probably as tall as me. And they produced really well first year. So these just went in this year. We've got some over here right now that are ready to be picked here soon. And I'm really happy. We have 2 Honeycrisp apple trees down there. They produced nothing this year. All the rest of our trees produced nothing, but we have 2 cherries. We have 2 more nectarines that are Harco nectarine, and those are diseased to hell. They have leaf curl really bad, and I don't think that I would recommend them. We have peaches and hazelnuts as well, and then we're going to actually kind of redo this area next year, potentially moving some things around and adding more. So we've got pumpkins growing out here in this field. We also have this area right here behind you with a radio flyer wagon, and inside of that, there's one that was already on the property when we bought it. And in there we are growing just a ton of strawberries, and I will show you what we're growing in bags along the edges, and that's the garden. This Zach planted not long ago from the teeny tiniest little guy, and it is huge. Look at it, and it's called...
I actually planted it from a big corm.
Corm?
Not a tiny little guy. But it's a big old corm. You don't have to correct me.
So Zach planted this not long ago from a big old corm that was really tiny too, and it was just like a tiny little.
I think it's a giant elephant ear, and it's supposed to get like the leaves. Each leaf will get, I think, like 5 or 6 feet.
Holy cow!
Like if I keep watering it and taking care of it.
And you will. This is jalapeno. I don't know why it's looking so yellow. Hey, this is also jalapeno.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
We planted a ton of jalapenos. That's probably our most used.
It's
pepper.
our most used. This is
Why can't I
the
remember?
medicinal thing.
Starts with a C.
We have to think of it on our own. We're growing comfrey.
Comfrey.
Thank you.
Wow, good job. I put the comfrey in the bag for now because I want to find a really good spot for it, because the roots apparently grow like 5-6 feet underground, and then you harvest the leaves and make like a compost tea out of it, and it draws up like
Are too deep down for anything else to get.
Yes, thank you.
And this is what is this?
Potatoes, tomatoes.
Potatoes, yams, lambs, hog, maw. That's our potatoes in the bag over there. So as you can see, they are dying back quite a bit. So this is, I think, how we're gonna do potatoes from now on. It did great. I mean, these were huge. They were really sticking up super high and looking awesome. And this is just what naturally happens to potatoes before you need to harvest them. And then this back guy back here is, I think, also potato?
Yeah, all the bags are mostly potatoes.
Yeah.
And the tomato that's in the other one is a volunteer, so I just left it.
This guy is grape. So we've got some grapes that we need trellising for these. We're gonna have the fence built correctly by next year, I hope.
Yeah.
We're not gonna have this mesh here. This was just to keep the elk and deer out for this year, and it has worked beautifully.
Yeah.
It has worked completely. But these we're gonna have climbing up the side of the fence, and these are red grape, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Red seedless?
Red seedless grape. So, yeah. That's the garden, you guys. It's pretty great. Honestly, I'm very proud of it. It's the best garden we've ever had, and this gives us such hope for next year. We actually met a new gardener friend, and we met him at a farmer's market, and he was there selling, and we went over to his place and looked at his garden, and he does the same type of gardening method, which is the no-dig, but he is doing it in market gardening because he's selling at farmers markets and selling to like local restaurants and stuff. You know, it gave us a lot of ideas for next year and how we want to grow. We left a lot of space in between the rows, which is really, really nice to be able to walk in. I think we might do a little bit more of a market style garden next year and probably put the tomatoes somewhere totally different from the rest of the garden so that we can overhead water. You want to water the base of the tomatoes and you don't want to get the foliage wet because it can cause a lot of disease for tomatoes specifically, but it would be really, really nice. We're going to probably do drip irrigation, but it might be nice to get like a wobbler like he has and be able to garden water that way. So yeah, it's just really cool. I'm very proud of this garden, and growing your own food is truly an experience like nothing else. I mean, it's just like so fulfilling, and the food tastes really, really good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this garden tour and seeing everything that we are growing this year, and I will try to bring you along and show you as we update, you know, and see like what we harvest and how that whole thing goes. But you guys can follow us on Instagram if you want to see some more sometimes. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching, and we will see you at our next video. Bye!